Okay, so listen, it's been a while. I changed my name to God-MAGE-KI now. No more Young Mozzie because I just need a rebranding. Anyway, aside from that, I wanted to talk about the new Death Battle video. And I promise this time I'm gonna be more focused and like laser pointed on the topic, and I'm gonna try not to stutter as much as I did in my last video. That's why I'm gonna be talking kind of slower this time around. And so Sasuke versus Hiei, I don't agree, but I'm not as upset as I was with the Toph versus Gara death battle. Maybe because I know for a fact they're wrong this time around, and it's like a silly reason, like silly stuff being wrong, and I'll explain what I mean in a minute. And this, I'm gonna go straight to because I've already seen the video. I saw it when it came up on the Rooster Teeth. Well, not on Rooster Teeth. I watched it on Verve actually. Um, 2.5 days ago when it came out on Monday. Today is Wednesday, so I just wanted to get this out real quick and just voice my opinion, my thoughts on this whole situation with Hiei winning. Spoiler alert. If you're watching this before you've seen the video, whatever. Um, let's see. So in this fight, they claim that Sasuke should be comparable to Naruto, and Naruto can react to light speed, which means if you can react to light speed, then or a light speed attack, logically you should have relativistic reactions, somewhere thousands in the thousands of Mach, at least somewhere in the thousands, 10,000s or something. But the highest feat that they gave for Hiei, and as far as I'm aware, this is his highest feat, is some lightning dodging that puts him at Mach 300. Now, as far as I'm aware, like, because I'm a part of this death battle community, right? As far as I'm aware, Sasuke in reality is thousands of times faster than Hiei. And I don't think any amount of scaling without some huge leaps in logic can justify Hiei being able to keep up with Sasuke, who is thousands of times faster than the feat Hiei scales to. Now, let's continue. That's just my thoughts as far as speed goes, because they say I think right after this they say that because Hiei is way faster than the feat that Mach 300 feet, then he shouldn't get absolutely blitzed by Sasuke, which is that's not how speed works. Speed is not completely linear in fiction, because you can be way faster than someone, but really in reality be be only like, well, you can be portrayed, let me rephrase that. You can be portrayed as being way faster than someone, but in reality only be 5 or 10 times faster in any and all circumstances. And usually we only go by feats in versus battle communities. I'll continue. I actually don't dispute this point. I question whether, well, he's about to say this. I don't know if the Dragon of the Darkness Flame is comparable to Amaterasu. I have no idea. They both burn flames. We actually get a stated temperature for Dragon of the Darkness Flame, I believe, but we don't get a stated temperature for Amaterasu, which not like that matters anyway. In a fight like this, um, could Amaterasu harm Hiei? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Could Dragon of the Darkness Flame harm Sasuke? Somewhat, maybe, probably. Is that would that be able to break through a Susanoo? I don't think so. Let's continue. Crafting control. The Sharingan Genjutsu. Okay, now this is a huge issue that this is what I have a problem with. So just because Hiei has mental protections, I'm gonna put that in quotes, mental protection, that means he's immune to Sasuke's Genjutsu. How does where's the leap in logic? There's a huge leap in logic here. First of all, Sasuke's used Genjutsu on people who can break out of Genjutsu. I believe he's used it on Danzo, even feats like using it on Sakura, who can break out of Genjutsu, or Danzo. And I think at one point he used it on Itachi. I think somebody told me he used it on Itachi. I don't remember it happening though. But just just saying that Hiei has mental protection in my eyes isn't enough to justify breaking out of a Sasuke Genjutsu, especially when Sasuke can successfully cast and knock out people with Genjutsu who can break out of Genjutsu. It's like a it's like ability scaling in a sense. Like you wouldn't say what's a good example? Like you wouldn't say that someone who can you wouldn't say just because someone who has fire protection or they're stated to have fire protection is immune to any kind of fire. Like you wouldn't say someone who can resist being burned by like a stove or like little flames, little flames. Sound like a rapper name, but little flames will not get torched by Amaterasu or Dragon of the Darkness Flame. That's a lesser example. I'll think of something better later. That might have been a bad example. Rip out his soul. Sasuke's never done that, so Sasuke wouldn't do that. Mostly because the author doesn't want him to. I mean, don't dispute that. See, I brought this up before. It's unlikely Sasuke was that much faster. Sasuke is Sasuke scales from a feat that's thousands of times faster than the feat Hiei scales from. And I mean, if you want to say somehow Hiei is thousands of times faster than the feat that he scales from, I mean, you have to bring some evidence, some hardcore evidence, some kind of statement, some kind of because scaling alone can't justify a, a huge boost like that. Scaling alone cannot justify him being thousands of times faster. I mean, sometimes speed just slaps because if you can get off 30 moves before your opponent can get off one move, I mean, that's enough to stomp right there. That's enough to slap right there. Let's continue. And I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this before, but like some people don't realize the difference between lightning and light. Lightning lightning can has a range of being anywhere from what, in the hundreds of Mach to tens of thousands of Mach. Really, in reality, maybe not tens of thousands of Mach. I have to read up on that, but it has a range like that, and light can be hundreds to thousands of times faster, and that's what Sasuke scales to. Let's continue. See, and this is where it gets shaky. And this was rather lazy on their part, since this feat of this feat was calculated in their previous Naruto versus Ichigo um battle, but really that battle downplayed Naruto because Naruto scales the feats actually above this. The creation of the moon, him and Sasuke creating the moon, Hagoromo and Hamura creating the moon, and Madara spreading the Shinju tree. All 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 three of which being planet level. Over like way over 27 exatons, or the 250 exaton that Hiei scales to, or that they're claiming that Hiei scales to. But I'll explain why even that is shaky. And when I say way higher, I mean like the lowest feat is like 10 times higher than the 250 exatons, if I recall correctly. It's at least five to 10 times higher, something like that. And that's the lesser among the feats. The higher among the feats is like 600 times. above 600 times, like 650 times higher than this feat that they're about to say that Hiei scales to. Now, let's 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 start with, is this feat relevant to this battle? No. This is an anime only feat. This feat is non-canon. Most of this fight that you see between Yusuke and Yomi, it never happens in the manga. Like the fight is like one chapter and like I just read it. The fight's one chapter. The fight's one chapter and like none of this happens in the manga. So this feat is non-canon. And whether or not Hiei scales to it, Hiei is actually weaker than Yusuke. Like, and an argument can be made that he's a decent amount weaker than Yusuke because he's getting slapped around by Mukuro. I mean, Hiei is getting slapped around by Mukuro, and Yusuke can fight on par with another demon lord in Yomi. So some people believe like Hiei is way weaker than Yusuke at this point, which doesn't matter since this is an anime only feat. This is non-canon. I mean, if we want to, this feat is non-canon. Anyway, let's continue. And then some other people in Death Battle communities have pointed out like there's actually a problem with the scaling. I don't care about like I'm not a calcer like, so I can't say if the scaling is wrong. Some other people have said that the scaling is wrong. I'm just saying that this feat never happens in the manga. This is a non-canon feat, so Hiei doesn't scale to it regardless. Not like Sasuke doesn't have feats way above this anyway, or Sasuke doesn't have feats way above this, but he scales to feats way above this. My bad. Actually, it does. The moon creation one also. That's his feat. Some people don't consider creation to scale to overall attack potency though. So let's just use the Madara spreading the Shinju tree example all throughout the earth. A lot of communities don't consider that to be planet level because they didn't count the roots spreading throughout the earth. Which if you're active in versus battle communities, um, you know what I'm talking about. And if you calc that, you get, that's where most of the kinetic energy comes from, so you'll get way higher results. Let's continue. Okay, so what I said before about Genjutsu, it's what we call in the debating community a no limit fallacy. Saying that someone has resistance to something in general and automatically saying that because they resist one thing means that they can resist this ability in all any and all capacities. it's a fallacy. And what I mean is, for example, if someone says, "Oh, I'm immortal, I can't die, I'll regenerate," and maybe they have a feat of regeneration, like regenerating their arm or being stabbed in the heart or like getting their head cut off or something. Does that mean that they can survive complete destruction of all of their atoms, like complete erasure, like all of their atoms being destroyed in their body? Does that mean they can survive any kind of destruction just because they stated that they're immortal and that they can regenerate? Obviously not, because they have no feats or statements to suggest that they can survive complete destruction. So that's what I mean in comparing that situation to Hiei's situation, where it's like, sure, he has mental resistance, but does that mean that his mental resistance on is on the level where Sasuke's Genjutsu can't affect him? I don't think so. Does he have any feats to suggest that? And that's where the problem comes on that. Um, Sasuke's thousands of times faster. Uh, Other than that, he's way stronger. He should have won. I don't know. I don't know about skill. Some people think that like a lot of people think that he is more skilled than Sasuke, like in a fight. I don't think so. But I can see why people would think that. But I don't think he is more skilled than Sasuke. Like combat, like hand to hand combat, like with a sword. I don't think he is more skilled than Sasuke. Um, what else is there to go over? Sasuke might be smarter, despite everything. Sasuke might be smarter in a fight. Like he's as far as I remember, he's better at coming up with strategies. I don't maybe he was good at coming up with strategies in fights. And I'm just drawing a blank right now. But as far as I remember, that was the case for a while. Um, I mean, he is not stupid, but on the level of like a Naruto character like Sasuke, like, pretty much all Naruto characters strategize in their fights. But on the level of Sasuke and Naruto, um, where they do a bunch of fake outs in the middle of fights, like even against Momoshiki, and even now with their god tier powers, they still involve a lot of like strategy in their fights. Do I think Hiei is on that level strategy wise? Not really. Doesn't really matter in this fight. Not really. I just wanted to discuss that just because some people would bring up that argument. I don't think skill and intelligence matter too much in this fight. This would be this fight will mostly be determined by strength and resistance. Uh, as far as the whole um Hiei fighting without a soul in his body, um, I I don't know nothing about that. I have no idea about that. I don't remember that. So apparently that's the thing. Let's see, what else is there? So they scaled Hiei to lesser of a non-canon feat, which is still less than other feats that Sasuke did slash he scales to. And they said that Hiei is likely not much slower than Sasuke, who scales to a feat thousands of times greater than he is because he scales to someone who can react to light. Um, I think that's it. Obviously, from I was just pointing out my issues with the the video, and I have to say I like the animation, but they got to do better when it comes to the research. They got to do better. Um. Anyway, catch you later. It's God-MAGE-KI. I changed my name. This is gonna be my first video back in a while. So, peace.